How to create an animated video title using Shotcut's overlay HTML filter. Part 3. More HTML techniques. Welcome to part 3. Now in part 2, this was my code which gave us this result here. Let me just run that in Chrome. There we are. So there's the title London, subtitle City of Dreams with a line, and then the text will fly off at the end. Now my first job is to add some vertical movement to the text. Now the first thing I'm going to do is to hide the title, line 1 and the subtitle, and I do this by making all these opacity 0, and I'm also going to remove this hash here so that the green hide box shows, and here it is. Let's run that in Chrome. So we have a purple box with a green box in the middle of it. And you can see from this that the green box is 100% of the height and 60% of the width of the purple box. Now I'm going to make it into this. So to do this, I'm going to change the height to 60% as well. So that looks like this. It's still centered because of the margin auto there. Now I'm going to delete those two lines there, make the title visible, and just delete those. And now let me see how that looks. Now London is there, and that's because I've got top 350 pixels there. So if I delete that and put there top 0%, by the way, I could use pixels here, but I've decided to use percentages for the top values. Copy it to there. We get this, with London in the center at the top of the green box. Now what I want to do is to animate that so that after 10% or 1 second, it will go to top 25% and then stay at 25% until the end. Okay, so let's have a look. Oh, there we are. The London text moves down. And as you can see, it goes down by 25% of the height of the green box. Now I'm going to do the same kind of thing with the subtitle. So copy that there, paste that, and I want 100% there. Actually, I'm going to show you what happens when I put 100% in all of these 3 lines here. Now you'd expect to see the subtitle at the bottom of the green box, but you don't. It doesn't appear. If I add a hash sign there, and so it shows overflow not hidden or shown, you can see that the City of Dreams text appears below the green box. So we can learn from that that top 100% means from the top of the green box down to the top of the text box. Now having the text hidden at the bottom is the effect I want. So let's just adjust some figures here. So if I make that 50% and I make that 50%, so the subtitle will move up from 100% up to 50%. Great! Now I want to change the top to minus 25%, so that is hidden at the beginning of the animation as well. Looking good. Now let's put the line back in again by making the opacity 1 on every line. Looks good. Now I'm going to make my animation a bit quicker, so I'll change that to 6. Then at the end of here I'm going to put that in, change that to 90%, and then I'm going to go back to minus 25% at the end. And I'm going to do the same with this one. And it's going to go down from 50% down to 100%. Let's see what that looks like. There we are. So it's going to come down like that, then it's going to go off at the end. Now I'm going to make the green invisible, view in Chrome, and there is our effect, which is very nice. Now all the text has a black shadow behind it, but the line doesn't. So that's my next stage, to add a shadow to the line. So I'll copy this code and paste it below, and I'm going to call that line white, and I'm going to call that one line black, and I'm going to change the background to black. and I'll copy that and paste it here, and I'm going to backspace that, and I'm going to make that line white and make that one line black. Okay, now if I run that in Chrome, we see a black line. Now there's an interesting point here. We see the black line because it's actually a black line directly in front of the white line. So if we look back at our HTML, we can see that the white line is written before the black line, and the black line comes out on top. Now if we reverse these over, in fact delete this and put it here, paste it into here, so the black line becomes first, we get this. So we're running Chrome and we should see a white line. There we are. So now the white line is in front of the black line. So what I need to do now is to go to the CSS of the black line, the line black, and I'm going to move the line 4 pixels to the right and 4 pixels down from the top. Now to do this, I go to the -15 pixels and make it -9 pixels, and I go down to the left 0 and make that 4 pixels. And this is the result. And there we have a shadow on the line, which is really 2 lines, one white and one black. And there it is. If I magnify it, you can see quite clearly the line there with the shadow. Now the next things, I'm going to show you how to change the font. Now I've downloaded and installed a program called Print My Fonts. Very useful program this. It shows you all the fonts that you have installed on your system. And if I put in there London, it will show you what London looks like in every font. It's clever. There's an interesting font I've just come across. Now that tells you Blackadder ITC. So basically if I write in Blackadder ITC in my title CSS, font family, Blackadder ITC, let's see what that looks like. There we are. London, City of Dreams. You might want to change the font size. 190, shall we say? Let's try that. Of course, if you do that, it might change the spacing. So you might have to adjust the spacing of the title and the subtitle. And you could experiment with that. Let's try a different font for City of Dreams. Let's have a look. Crazy Girls Blonde BTN. Okay, we'll try that. So just type that in. Crazy Girls Blonde BTN. Yeah, looks crazy. Let's make it slightly bigger. 150. Try that. London City of Dreams. There we are. Now what I found was actually if you put in A.R. Delaney and then in here put Cody Starr, you get a great effect. Very modern. Next I'm going to show you how to combine top and left to get diagonal movement. So if you put in left -500 pixels and copy it to there and there and there, then I put in here at 0%, 10%, it's going to go to left 0 and then it's going to stay at 0, 90%. Let's try that. Oops, -0, that's wrong. Run that in Chrome and there we have a diagonal movement. Now I'll just do the same with the subtitle. Here we go. So copy left 400 there and left 400, left 400. Change that to 0, and that one to 0 as well. And let's run that in Chrome. And if we change the fonts, we get this, which looks good, and the text will fly off at the end. There it goes. All good. Next, we're going to tidy up the code a little bit. So, if you look here, you've got position absolute on every single div on the CSS. it appears everywhere. So if I go up here and I write the word div and then open brackets and then I write in position absolute and put it inside the brackets, I can now actually get rid of every one of those, delete them, and it's taken care of by div position absolute, which tells the browser that every div will be position absolute. Also notice that the title and the subtitle both had text shadow 3px black, so if I delete that and copy it there, and I can delete that one, and basically it tidies up the code a little more, and the text shadow will still appear on every part of the text. Now, to finish this part of the tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create this animation. Now, this is very similar to the one I did previously, but if I show you that again, you can see clearly that the two lines go across, one from the left and one from the right, one on the top and one on the bottom. Now I'm going to base my animation on this one, which I have done previously, where the text slides in from the top and the bottom and slides out at the end. Now there's my code for that, you can see, and it looks quite familiar. Now I'm going to delete line 1 div there and go to the top, and I'm going to copy this line here. And remember, we had a green hide box there. Let's copy that and paste it on the line below, and then I'm going to call that line container, and I'm going to color it blue for identification purposes, and I'm going to make it a width of 40% instead of 60, and the height 30%. Now I need a div for that, so I'm going to write in here underneath the hide box container, the end div, a blue box in the middle. Now let's just get rid of the text behind it, so let's put opacity 0 in there, and let's see that, and we have a blue box in the center. Now very important to notice something here. If I delete that and put it above the hide box and then running Chrome, you'll find that it will disappear completely, and that's because the blue box is still there, but it's behind the green box. Now remember what we said about the order of putting the divs is very important. Now I'm going to find where the hide box ends there, and I'm going to put that div back in, and you'll see it. Now one more point, that blue box is completely independent of the hide box there. For instance, if I take away the margin auto there, the green box is still centered, but the blue box isn't. In fact, it's positioned in the top left hand corner because it's top 0 and left 0 positioning. I can change these to whatever I like, so let's just choose two figures, 70 pixels from the top and 300 pixels from the left. And the blue box in fact does move 70 pixels from the top and 300 pixels from the left. Now our line CSS is still there, so I'm going to make a div for the line and put it inside the line container. So let me open that up a bit there, copy that div and call that line 01, just copy the text from there. And I just need to change a few things here. So I'm going to take those two lines out, delete those, and I'm going to put here top 0%, because I want this line to be at the top of the blue box, and I'm going to put in width 100% because I want the white line to go all the way across the blue box. I'm going to change that to opacity 1 so you can see it, and we save and run in Chrome. And there we are, there's a white line 100% of the width of the blue box at the top. Now I'm going to now put another div underneath this div because I want another line on the blue box, this time at the bottom. So I'm going to call that one line top and that one line bottom for identification. I'm also going to call that line top, then put a comma there, and then put another hash with a line bottom. I'm going to also copy the line bottom again and write another CSS section here, but at this time identify that with top 98%. So we have two lines, one at the top of the blue box and one at the bottom. Let's have a look. And there we are. Now I could have put 100% for the bottom line, but remember it wouldn't be seen because it would be below the blue box, and the blue box has overflow hidden applied to it. So next I'm going to center the blue box again by taking off the hash off the blue again, and it'll look like this. Oh, I need to change that to top naught and left naught again, and there we are, the blue box is centered. And I'm going to take away our overflow hidden by putting a hashtag in there, and I'm going to go down to here and put here left 100%. Now let's see how it looks. Oh yes, the two lines have gone across to the right of the blue box, 100% from the left, and it looks a bit strange. Now on the bottom I'm going to put left minus 100%. Now that attribute will override the one in the top section, and it now looks like this. Now my next task is to start to animate all of that, so I'm going to copy that and paste it after line top. Now I need to animate the left attribute only, so I'm going to delete all of those there. Then I'm going to highlight that and cut it and paste it there and on every single line. There we are. Now I'm going to change these. We're going to have at 10% I think I'm going to go down to 0%, and at 90% I'm going to go down to 0% as well, and then it's going to go back to 100% at 100%. Now I'm going to make those opacity 1, so put every single line, put 1 in, and I'm going to take off opacity 1 from there, and let's see what happens. There we are, the line is animated from right to left at the top of the blue box. Now we're going to do the same with line bottom, copy all of that lot, paste it there, and then I'm going to put a left minus 100 there because I want it to start from the left. So we put minus 100 at the end, and that gives us that animation, which is very good. Now let's go to the top here and put the overflow hidden back on again, and look at the result. There we are, the two lines slide in from the left and the right. Now take off the blue and take off the green, make it transparent, put the opacity 1 on there, which will put the text back on again, and there we are, good animation. Now I'm going to put the blue back on again for to show you something here. Now notice that the text goes behind that blue box, so if I put in here opacity 0.4 say, it makes the blue box slightly transparent and you can see the white text below it. Now looking at the blue box there, I think it needs to move up a little bit, so if I put top say minus 50 pixels there, that should center everything correctly, and that's great. There we go, very nice. Now I'm going to change that back to opacity 1. Now my animation is nearly done, but I just want to change some timing of the lines and the text so they coordinate together. So I'm going to copy that 10% to there and change it to 20. Now look at the top line, and it moves slightly later, which is good. And I'm going to do the same with the bottom line, get that to move slightly later as well. There we go. Great. And then at the end I need to just make that a little bit earlier so the lines move across earlier, so I'm going to copy that 90% there and change it to 80% on the top and the bottom, and just tweak the figures, and there we go. And I think that's our final animation, which I'm very pleased about. Yep, looking good. Okay, so that's great. Now the last thing for me to do in this tutorial is to apply this HTML file to a video in Shotcut. Now I've already shown you this process at the beginning and the end of part 2, so I'm not going to go into detail, so I'll just summarize the steps for you. Right, and that's about it. In part 4 I'll be telling you how to animate your title using individual letters of your animation. It's quite cool, so do check in for that. But for now, that's all from me. I'll just leave you with 2 more stunning HTML animations. Bye bye.